Hello again. It's been a while since I've done one of these updates. For a time, it felt like nothing was really changing too much, so I didn't need to do one, but I have had some more long-term thoughts now, so I think this is a good time to do what I believe is around a 9-month update of my journey on Zepbound. Eggplant is here with me. Kind of looks like I'm speaking into the mic of his stem, but he's just hanging out. I just got back from the gym, and I'm very sweaty, and I'm sorry. Alright, so to give a broad overview of what's happened so far since the last update, my overall quality of life has greatly improved since before I started Zepbound. I think we already knew that. It has continued to improve, and I'm basically just in a maintenance situation now. But it does feel like things are just in general better and easier, and I feel like the normal human that I was before my PCOS things all started to hit me. The biggest thing for me has been really seeing results in the gym or from other kinds of movement and exercise. It is really hard to stay motivated to do those kinds of things, even though you know you need to do them to be healthy and have an active lifestyle. When you're in the depths of PCOS and you don't see any improvement and you just continue to see actually worsening symptoms, it's really demotivating. So it's hard to keep going when you're always fatigued, you just feel bloated and larger than you should be for how much movement you're doing and what you're eating. And maybe you do see strength gains. I did see some strength gains, but it didn't feel like I actually saw them. It just felt like they were kind of happening, but that I would gain muscle and fat together. So it didn't feel like life was getting any easier being active, although it was still better for me than not doing anything. But now it feels like on Zepbound, I actually see the fruits of my labor in a sense, and I feel them, and it's like a compounding effect. Everything gets better and things get easier, and so then I'm more motivated to do more, and so I do more. And my partner has also been super supportive and involved and motivating in my fitness journey also, so that really helps too. We go to the gym together, we do other active stuff with friends, and it feels like because of this change in my body's response to movement, I feel like I've kind of shifted my focus away from climbing. I don't know if I ever talked about it at length before, but I was doing a lot of climbing the past few years, indoor climbing, bouldering, and now that I am actually seeing like visible and palpable differences and results in my body from strength training, I feel like I have kind of shifted my focus toward that instead. Partly because I just wanted to do something new. I have a little bit of that thing where I get bored of a routine if I do it for too long. So I think in a sense I was like ready to do something different a bit. And I also felt like I hit a climbing plateau at that like V4-5 area. So it feels good to do something different and to do new things and to also use muscles that I haven't really been using. Because I think climbing, it really uses a specific set of muscles, and there are a lot of ones that don't really get used as much. So that's been a good time. I've just been going to the local 24. And to be more specific about the results that I've been seeing, I'm pretty sure that I have been recomposing my body. Maybe that's a really weird way to say that, but basically body recomposition is what I am achieving. So I did have that initial like big dip in weight when I first started Zepbound, and then I felt like I plateaued with that, and that's not a bad thing because I kind of reached my healthy normal weight. And then from there, I haven't really been trying to lose weight. I've been trying to change my body composition. So the lifting has been helping me gain muscle and also lose fat, and it's really nice to be doing both of those things and not just to be gaining muscle and also fat. So in that sense, even though the scale hasn't really moved much these past few months, I have noticed big changes in my body. My clothes are fitting very differently, and I feel more confident to wear things that I didn't used to. I'm fitting back into clothes that I didn't used to. A while back, I actually got rid of a lot of clothes that I wasn't fitting at the time, and I was like, there's just no way I'm going to be able to fit into these ever again. So I'm going to get rid of them, and now I really regret that because I think I would fit them again. So it's a bittersweet moment. I'm happy to have achieved this, but I also am sad that I don't have those clothes anymore. And my friend group is also getting into running, and my partner's getting back into running, and they're going to have a running event coming up. I'm not participating in it because at the time of sign up, I just was not sure where I would be at the time. But with that like base fitness level that I'm building with lifting, I feel like that has actually really improved my base for running to a surprising degree. But I credit a lot of it to the lifting, especially like the big leg lifts, the squats and deadlifts and stuff. So I've recently been getting back into running a little bit, and I've been very much surprising myself with how much I'm able to do, and like compared to how I would do before, I can go a lot longer. I'm not going very fast still. I'm kind of a turtle runner. I have short little legs, so I'm still going at a very, very modest speed, but I am able to last a lot longer, and I don't like peter out and lose steam completely nearly as soon as I used to. So it's been really rewarding to feel that difference also. And now running, partly because I'm doing it with other people, but also partly because I'm not struggling in the same way as I used to, I feel like I'm not hitting that, oh, I hate this kind of wall immediately. I feel like I'm able to enjoy the run for a time before I start hitting that physical wall. Another big thing that I have noticed that has changed since I started is my hair regrowth. So when I first lost all of the excess weight at the beginning of my journey, I think I did suffer quite a lot of like hair loss and thinning, and that is normal for when you lose a lot of weight quickly, and it also is temporary as long as you don't continue to lose weight at that rate. So now that I have been eating at a normal amount, at a maintenance amount, and I'm not losing weight anymore, I'm just changing my body composition. I think my body has really recovered from that weight loss, and my hair is growing back in a way that I did not expect. And I feel like it's actually maybe possibly growing back more than I ever had it during my whole PCOS time. And it's also really hard to know how long I've had PCOS symptoms for, since I think a lot of it can be dormant, but then it can manifest at different times in one's either teenage or adult life. But I actually suspect that my hair specifically, I've been having PCOS-related hair struggles since I was pretty young, actually, in probably high school or college. When I was younger, in like middle school, high school, I would be putting my hair up in ponytails a lot for tennis. And at least for me, I think PCOS makes me somewhat have a male pattern balding kind of thing going on. So, and it also, I think it's related to seborrheic dermatitis, which I continue to struggle with, but when I was really young and when puberty kind of hit me, it was very bad. And so I got these like really large bald spots at the sort of male pattern at the temples, and it would be very apparent. It wouldn't be obvious when my hair was down, but it would be very apparent when my hair was up in a ponytail. And I would have people, other kids, and also my coach would be like, "Hey, what's up with your hair? Why do you have a bald spot there? Are you okay?" So I think that speaks to the severity of the hair loss at the time, when I didn't realize it was like a big deal, but now that I'm looking back on it and I'm comparing it to my hair now, it's a lot better. Maybe this isn't the best time to show my hair because it's kind of gross from the gym and it's not washed. I will put in photos if I can find good comparison photos of recently compared to maybe months or years ago. I haven't been very good about taking progress photos just because I felt like I wasn't making progress. Maybe it might not be very obvious in this state of my hair, but the bald spots, or the spots that were bald before, are a little less bald. They're still some like thin compared to the rest of my hair, like this temple area, but there's definitely more coverage than there was before. Like before, if I picked up this piece of hair, then it would just be it would be almost barren right here. And now I think it's somewhat covered. Like from afar, it doesn't look like super bald. And I think other people have actually commented on this too recently. They've said like, "Oh, your hair, it looks like different." Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I'm just deluding myself about that and being hopeful, but I like to think that it's improved. Hello, it's me on a different day, popping in to add some things that I forgot. I somehow forgot to include in the first part the very large topic of hunger. And honestly, that was part of the reason why I even thought to record another update video, is because my hunger levels have really changed over time. So I am shocked that I forgot to include that, but I am adding it now. I may have mentioned in a previous update that the hunger levels were like kind of coming back, the initial huge drop in hunger does not last forever, and I think that is the case for other folks to have their hunger levels come back over time if they stay on a GLP-1 for an extended period of time. So I think that lines up with other folks' experiences, and I've definitely experienced that myself. I had that huge dip for a number of months, and then it has been kind of slowly, gradually building back up. And now that I am leading a pretty active lifestyle and I am building muscle, so now that my body is demanding a lot more resources to maintain the muscle mass and to just do more things, I definitely noticed that the hunger levels have, I think, pretty much healed. I would call them healed personally to a regular level for me. I think like the baseline level that I had before I started the GLP-1s and before I had the PCOS massive hunger. What I am experiencing now, I would say, is like the healthiest and most normal kind of set point hunger level that I should be experiencing for what kind of life I'm leading. At first, I was a little concerned that that meant that the GLP-1 was losing effectiveness and that I was going to start rebounding over time, but that hasn't happened. My body is still maintaining the results and everything. It's still functioning properly with the GLP-1, and now it's just my hunger levels have kind of recalibrated, and now I feel the hunger when I need to, and I also feel fullness when I need to. My fullness cues are also very normalized. So I haven't rebounded back to the ravenous kind of hunger that I had during my PCOS worst symptoms. And it's not concerning at all for me. I'm actually quite happy that this has happened. As someone with a past of disordered eating and messed up hunger and fullness cues, I'm quite happy to have normal levels of those again. So that's why I use the word healed. I think that my hunger and fullness cues are properly normalized and healed. Yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to say about that. I just forgot to include that completely somehow. But yeah, back to the original video. Those are the major body changes that I wanted to talk about. I also wanted to talk about the injection materials that Lilly Direct sends. So this is pertinent to people who buy from Lilly Direct with self-pay specifically. Basically, if you're not getting a pre-filled pen, then you're getting injection materials to use with your doses. And in a previous video, I talked about how I was really confused that the vial was suddenly, or not the vial, the syringe was suddenly appearing to be half filled with air. And sometime after that, I realized the reason for this. It's because when I originally started using Zepbound, they were sending me 0.5 milliliter, I think is the unit, 0.5 size syringes, and that would be the size of my whole dose. So I would fill the whole syringe up completely, and then there would be a little bit left in the vial as usual. They always fill out a little bit extra. So I would be filling my entire syringe and then injecting. And then when I encountered that problem, what I did not realize was that they had changed the syringe size on me. So they suddenly started sending me 1.0 milliliter syringe sizes. And I didn't realize that, and I didn't get any notification on the website when I was ordering. I didn't get any notification from them after the order. I didn't get there was no notification in the materials in the box that actually came in. There was just the regular documentation, the how-to and stuff. Now I know all of the steps. I'm not reading the how-to every time, but I was not paying attention to my dose size versus the syringe size. So I didn't realize that I was actually trying to pull in 1.0 milliliters of dose into the syringe, and obviously I wasn't able to do that because they don't put 1.0 in the vial. They just put in a little bit extra over 0.5. So that's why I had that huge gap of air previously, and I did inject it, and nothing bad happened, but you're not really supposed to do that. You shouldn't be injecting huge bubbles of air, probably. So that is something to keep in mind and be aware of. Your dose size versus the syringe size. Every time you should always be checking, just making sure that you are pulling in the right amount into the syringe, and especially paying attention when the materials look a little bit different. I didn't realize because the syringes actually looked so similar. It's a pretty small amount of liquid, actually, so the tubes themselves didn't look all that different in size. The only thing that was different was the font on the syringe was a little bit different, but I didn't think anything of it. I was just oh, okay, it's a slightly different syringe. La-di-da. But no, if there are any changes, pay attention to them, and always make sure you're paying attention to the gradations on the syringe and using the correct amount. More recently, I think like a month or two ago, I did get a notification as I was ordering on the website that they are changing the injection materials, and it said that they're actually going back to an older version or an older brand that they were using before. And then the next delivery that I got, the packaging was different for the materials. I haven't used them yet, so I don't know what the syringes look like, but it might be the old syringe size, so I will be paying attention to that. So for that change, they did notify us, but they don't always notify. Another thing that happened a while ago, this was kind of a one-off event, but it is important to note. I did have what seems like an allergic reaction to the Band-Aid that I was using previously. And maybe I should say bandage, because I'm not sure it was the Band-Aid brand. I think it's NextCare. I was originally, I think, using the NextCare waterproof small bandages on the injection sites to kind of control the reaction to the injection initially and somewhat mitigate the symptoms like the itchiness and the welt and the redness and things. And that is still effective for me. I'm still doing that, but I'm doing it with a different brand. Because I think one time I left on the NextCare bandage a little bit too long. I think I usually leave it on for 2 days after the injection. And one time I left it on for more than that. I don't remember exactly how long, but it was more than 2 days. And I realized it, and I was like, oh shoot, I need to take this off now. And I took it off, I removed the bandage, and then later in the day I noticed that there was a weird raised ridge around the edge where the bandage had been. So it looked like an allergic reaction to the bandage specifically, not to the injection. And I think I took some pictures of it, and I will show them if I can find them. But yeah, I guess I just left that on a little bit too long, and it was sort of scary, and I was worried. Thankfully, it didn't get any worse than that, but it wasn't really a good sign, so I did switch brands. So now I'm using the Band-Aid brand of the still clear waterproof small bandages, and I'm thinking it must have slightly different ingredients in the glue and stuff because I haven't had that happen since. But unfortunately, the allergic reaction thing that happened from the NextCare bandage, it did kind of not scar, hopefully it's not a scar, but it did leave a lasting kind of situation on my skin. It got really raised at the time, and then after it somewhat healed, then it kind of scabbed over, and then the scabbed area remained dark for some time. And I think now it's starting to fade, so I'm really hoping that it goes away entirely eventually. But I got a weird semi-permanent thing from that bandage, and I'm not loving that. So I'm being very careful and just not using that brand again. So do be aware of what kind of bandages you use if you do this. Maybe you don't even need to do this. Hopefully you don't. But if you do use any kind of bandage after the fact, then don't leave it on too long. And if you get a reaction, then don't use that anymore. Okay, the last thing that I am going to talk about in this update is my plan for the future, which is ultimately I'm really hoping to get off of the injections entirely. I don't want to be injecting myself for the rest of my life because, as I've explained before, I really hate it. And I hate the reactions that I get to the injections. And every week it's like having a new mosquito bite on me. And I hate the needle part, and I hate having to do it. I hate the smell of the alcohol swabs now. I even hate the smell of my kitchen hand soap because I'm associating it with doing the injection. It's just, I have a strong aversion to doing it, and I hate it, and I don't want to do it anymore. And I don't want to do it for life, but I'm doing it for now because it is still worth it. Is that a dog? I'm looking in the building across from me, and I think I saw a dog's tail wagging. Maybe it's something else. Anyway, so I was on a run with my friends the other day, and one of my friends is a pharmacist, and she told me that apparently there is a pill coming out, or there is a pill that has recently been approved for tirzepatide specifically. I've been seeing a lot of other GLP-1s get pill forms approved, and she told me that the tirzepatide pill recently was approved on April 1st, I think. And I was expressing that my main concern with the pill versus the injection is a lower effectiveness. I'm just really scared of rebounding. I don't want to switch to the pill and then have things kind of spiral back into how they were. And she did say that yes, the pill is a bit less effective for folks who are getting onto the medication though. And that's in terms of initial fat loss or or initial weight loss. Folks on the injection lost so-and-so percent of their body weight versus only this much on the pill. But because I'm not in that initial stage anymore, I'm hoping that maybe that wouldn't as much apply to me, that right now I'm just trying to be on a maintenance dose. And so because I'm not going for a big weight loss or any weight loss at all, actually, that maybe a lower effectiveness would still work fine for me as a maintenance dose. I'm not sure about that. I need to also ask my doctor about it, but it is a cool improvement, and I'm really hoping that eventually I will get off of the injections. If the pill didn't work out and I had to get back on injections, then I would be really sad, but I would still do it. It's still worth it. So yeah, I'm really hopeful about the future in that sense. I am looking forward to trying a pill eventually. Not sure when that'll happen. But of course, when I do, I will make updates about that because I think that will be a very different experience. Maybe there'll be different side effects from the injection, who knows. But at this point with the injection, I'm experiencing basically no side effects now, besides the reactions to the injection site. I think there was one isolated incident where I had that weird feeling in my throat again. So it was like a similar to heartburn kind of thing, and I couldn't put much food down because it just felt like it was going to come up again, even though nothing came up. But it was that weird feeling again that I had somewhat frequently in the beginning, and that was just like an isolated one-off incident, probably like a month or two ago. I'm not sure why it happened. It could have been caused by something entirely different, but that happened, and otherwise nothing else has really happened. So I think for now that is a good update. This is 9 months. Maybe I'll do another one at like the 1 year mark. And yeah, if I ever go on the pill instead, I'll let you know. But otherwise, things are going well. All right, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.